Really weird stuff. That's very weird.
Really Weird Stuff is a holistic Twin Peaks podcast. That means we discuss each episode within the context of the series as a whole. In other words, spoilers abound. Welcome to episode 11 of Really Weird Stuff, a Twin Peaks podcast. I'm a host, Jessica Baxter.
I'm Annie Malone.
Another host.
Yeah, I'm not just
and to
here.
join us to talk about Twin Peaks Season 2, Episode 3, The Man Behind the Glass, is my husband and donut advocate, Chris Brugos.
Hey, everyone.
There were no pastry crimes in this episode, I noticed.
No, fortunately.
Yeah.
I didn't get my dander up about pastry crimes.
No.
So you're going to have to pick
crimes.
a different LVP. You're going to have to choose a few.
Different ceiling fan moment, too.
Yeah, that's right. This episode originally aired on October 13th, 1990. It was written by Robert Engels, who also wrote the One-Armed Man episode, and directed by Lesli Linka Glatter, who also directed the Cooper's Dreams episode.
Ooh.
A fun fact about this one is that right before this episode aired, The Secret Diary of Laura Palmer was released, which was written by Jennifer Lynch.
Yeah, I remember that.
Under the watchful eye of Mark Frost, who loves those supplemental reading materials.
Yeah.
And the cover matches the prop that's used in the episode. And later episodes, actual passages are read or referenced. And this is the first episode to not feature or credit Leo or Andy. Eric DeRay,
yeah.
and Harry Goes.
You took a sick day.
Yeah. Leo's also on a big sick day.
Yeah,
himself.
his reference as being Mr.
Potato Head, yeah.
In a coma.
Yes. This episode takes place on March 6th, 1989, just
Okay.
to put this in perspective.
I know there's an episode coming up where they say, like, she's been dead 2 weeks or 10 days or something, like, and you're like, oh my god, this show has not moved at all.
The episode opens at Calhoun Memorial Hospital, where Ronette Pulaski is freaking out.
Yeah, she is. I feel like that's a motif, is someone having a fit, physical distress. There's a lot of that.
Some sort of seizure.
Yes.
Some sort of Bob-related seizure,
Yeah.
I suppose, yes.
The opening shot's a complicated one.
It's a wonder.
And it goes from Ronette to Harry doing something.
He turns off a machine, like, what are you doing, Harry?
The authority for this.
We need to, like,
We were
revisit
talking when it
that.
came in right afterwards, maybe he flipped it back on. It's like, that's to help her breathe.
He pulled out the IV, so I guess he just want to save some energy.
Ridiculous.
What a strange bit that was.
This one really got a lot of the people who live in Twin Peaks. Like, there was the orderly with a mullet and a mustache. He was around.
Oh,
just
yeah,
as extra.
it's a big one for background actors in
Yeah.
lines.
Mm-hmm.
People just doing stuff.
People doing stuff.
Yeah. And syringes, another motif.
Yeah, a
because,
lot.
like, the nurse does a little squirt with the syringe right before she sedates Ronette. But she doesn't sedate her enough, apparently, because it hurts when they pull that
Yeah, ow.
letter out.
Yikes.
And that hurts me when I see them going under the fingernails.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
like-
even when it's on a corpse, it hurts me. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. Fortunately, it's not as much of a close-up as they usually do.
Yeah.
That actress acts it very well. It looks like it hurts a lot. Then the wonder goes into the hallway with Harry and Albert coming in. It's good. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. Good job, Leslie.
And then Harry says that I gave her a sedative, but he didn't. What he did was fiddle with the box.
I know! I take credit for that.
I don't understand why he says that he gave it to her. It's just really funny.
Ronette pulled out her IV. I just gave her a sedative.
I gave her a sedative.
Hey,
What else do you take credit for?
Like, Harry, you're not a doctor. What's happening? Turning off machines? Like, what?
He's a mechanic later, too, because he's fixing a wheel on the chalkboard. Apropos of nothing.
Yeah,
It's really
he's
funny.
clearly not a mechanic, because was it the previous episode where he was, like, reading the instructions on the stool?
Oh, gosh. It was such an odd little bit.
Oh my god, I feel like Harry is not the smartest.
Really?
Guy.
You don't think so?
As we find out almost immediately when Coop starts talking about it, it's like, oh, I didn't tell you guys about the fact that I was visited by this giant twice. You gave me 3 clues. Here they all are.
It is unusual that Coop waited this long to tell anybody that. I mean, I guess he was like
maybe he wasn't
shot
sure
and all that.
if it happened really, but then the clues started panning out.
Yeah.
And he realized his ring was missing. And then he was like, oh yeah, there's really something to this.
No, I think he always knew there was something to it. Maybe he just was busy recovering from being shot. Remember, so much stuff was going on. Like when
wasn't even
there were like
there.
1 billion people in the hospital.
That's
It was
true.
like a lot of stuff went down that night.
Doc Hayward's been very busy since he's the only doctor in Twin Peaks.
Since all of those emergencies called for a pediatrician.
Although now I'm wondering if he's like an OB, because he's like, I delivered babies.
Oh, right.
He delivers all these babies.
That still does not make any sense why he's in any of the situations he's
It
in.
definitely doesn't make sense why he's a bird expert.
No, he's not an expert. He was just reading in that book.
Or why he needs to be there to help them
Yeah.
read a book about birds.
Maybe Harry can't read.
Maybe not.
Or Andy, I mean, yeah.
Those are both very plausible, actually.
Right.
There's something I never told you. Also, Harry's obsessed with giants. Cooper
Oh my
this
gosh.
thing about, like, I've been sort of slowly solving the crime because of these clues. And Harry's like, you saw a giant?
We were visited by a giant. Any relation to the dwarf?
Did his head touch the ceiling? Did he have a booming voice?
Back to the giant. What was he wearing?
What did she
Right.
say?
Right.
Did he happen to say anything about me?
Did the curtains match the drapes?
It's triggering for a redhead. That's not funny.
I like how he lines up. He's like, fellas, let's stand together. And then they stand very close together.
Very close.
Shoulder to shoulder, and then Albert gives a really funny look. to
Albert
her.
is so funny
Harry's
in
on
these
fire.
scenes.
Albert's on fire in
Yeah.
this episode. He's really good.
Coop and Harry always talk that close together.
Yeah.
That's just how they talk to each other. Yeah, and Albert's picking up on that, and he's like, okay, well, I guess I'd better make my peace with this guy. And then it cuts to Donna visiting Harold Smith.
Oh, boy.
Here. He opens the door before
What?
she even knocks. She's like about to knock, because he's totally creeping on her from the window. He starts immediately with the negging.
You're wearing a different sweater than yesterday. Color's better on you.
Your sweater today is better than the horrible one you were wearing yesterday.
Right.
But he's actually right.
So
Her
fair.
outfit's actually pretty good this episode. Her short suede jacket's good.
She's wearing like cowboy boots, too.
Yeah. Cowboy boots and jeans.
She's like experimenting with her look this season, you
trying to
know?
figure out who she wants to be.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to be the Donna that is in love with James, because you.
That Donna's got bad taste.
Yeah.
I forgot about the diary. When I'm watching this scene, like, why would Laura have talked to him so much about Donna? And then it's like, oh, maybe it's just because he has her diary. But it's such a, like, teenager thing to just assume that somebody is always talking about them. Like, she doesn't question why he would know so much about her.
Well, because he says, like, she said this and she said that, but he
Yeah.
means in her diary.
Right, but she doesn't know that, and it's just funny that she's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That Laura was here always talking about me.
Aw, she said I was pretty. Oh, yeah, he offers her a bunch of random stuff. Saltines, apple butter.
They do a good job of making him a weird shut-in guy. It's
Yeah,
like, they don't
he's
make him
super weird.
super creepy, but he's just wrong.
Yeah.
Like, everything about him's off.
Yeah.
And he's wrong about everything he thinks about her. When he's like, don't be nervous. She's like, I'm not.
Yeah.
I really like that. That's not why it's hot in here.
A totally
Yeah.
wrong read on everything. There was some other thing, too, later on. He says, Laura used to think of me as a mystery in her life.
I
Like,
know.
really? Why do you think that?
Yeah.
I think she had bigger fish to fry than you, Harold.
Right.
Well, so Harold's, I think he's supposed to be very attractive. But the character doesn't work for me because I don't find him very
I
attractive.
think he's supposed
No.
to be kind of cute, yeah. But he's...
No, no
It's
thank
very
you.
creepy.
No, I was wondering if you were going to find him attractive because he has a big nose.
Ouch.
I do not find him cute.
And
I
the
don't
hair,
know.
the
I
hair
don't
is
know.
very dated. faded. So like the
Yeah,
hair
he
does
has
not
a
work.
really 90s look.
Yeah, he's like a 90s twink.
I don't know that he's really a twink look, but...
He's very skinny.
I was a 90s twin, so it's good thing we didn't meet in the 90s.
Aw, I've seen pictures of you in the 90s. You were really cute. You had the skater haircut, which I was into. Harold has dumb hair. I just don't like
He does.
Harold.
I don't like
Yeah, Harold is not attractive.
Yeah, and he becomes more problematic as time goes on. He's putting on a good, charming face in as much as he can for Donna. But
Sure, I mean,
can't hide from
offer me
one.
some apple butter and I'm putty in your hands.
Right.
She smartly declines everything he offers her.
Right.
I like that she's like, I'm not going to accept any refreshments from this creepy shut-in.
Yeah, that's probably for the best.
So then he goes in this greenhouse, which is for some reason like on the way to the kitchen. As we learn later.
Right.
The floor plan is interesting.
She sees like a piece of paper sticking out of the bookshelf. And he doesn't really seem like the type to leave something out of place like that. Like everything else in the house is pretty orderly.
Yeah, it should have the word clue written on it or something.
Yes.
Right.
A little blue pop for him.
A clue, a clue.
Yeah, but she doesn't get a chance to pull it out before he comes back, which I guess is why she decides to leave so abruptly, because she's like, oh man, he saw me.
Right.
Looking at that shit. He gives her the lady slipper orchid. I feel like orchids are also kind of like a red flag. Like anyone obsessed with orchids. Maybe it's just because of Twin Peaks.
I can see it's kind of like a creepy thing. I don't know. I mean, I think that might just be a Twin Peaks related red flag. Some people are into orchids. I don't know.
At the station, Cooper is standing in front of the blackboard with the letters found under the girl's fingernails, and somehow he knew exactly what order to put them in, too, which I thought was interesting. RBT.
That's not the order he got him in either.
No, it is not. That's why I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And the names, he's kind of got a diagram with Bob's face in the middle. They had to make so many copies of that poster, it seems, in this episode, because it's just everywhere. It's like in every single scene. With Maddie, Mrs. Palmer, Coop, and Ronette, who are all the people who have reported seeing Bob. I think it's funny that Coop's like, you, the viewers, might not know that Mrs. Palmer called me and told me that Maddie saw Bob twice.
Right.
I like that little detail, because otherwise I feel like people would be like, how does he know that?
Is Oscar Isaac the viewer?
It's a theoretical Twin Peaks watcher. Oh my gosh!
And then Harry asks a couple more questions about
Oh my God, Harry!
Oh.
Also, I like that. Well, maybe it's a little ahead, but like he wants any word that has those letters, you know?
Yes.
And it's like those letters are actually in Albert.
Oh dear. Yes, you are very good at this game. You
Oh gosh, I know.
You and Hawk can have a real whatever the fuck this game is.
Yeah.
They used to be really good at.
I mean, any word with those three letters, if you can use them more than once, there's like a kabillion.
A metric kabillion.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, there's too many. They gave Lucy some busy work.
Yes,
They
there's
probably-
no way this is going to be anything.
That's not going to crack the case.
Right.
Grab a scrabble board and a legal pad and answer the phones while you're doing it. And take a long lunch with Dick.
Yes.
But before that happens,
All right, yeah.
Albert's there. Suddenly, he's like
Albert
quite
has
unexpectedly
so
like,
much
in the corner.
swagger in this scene,
He's
you
feeling
know?
good. He's discovered all kinds of shit.
Yes.
About the cocaine and James's gas tank. It matches the cocaine. I didn't know you could match cocaine, but I guess you can. Found in Jacques' car and Leo's house, and he thinks that means that Leo is framing James, which they're way off on that, but you know. And that the letter B under Ronette's finger was cut from an edition of Flesh World, of course.
Perfect
the only
match.
magazine that the men in Twin Peaks read. And then also this issue features a Swingers Club for standard poodle enthusiasts.
Yeah.
That is very specific.
It is. I feel like he makes it sound like more weird than it really is.
Right.
Like, I don't think it's anything about bestiality.
Yeah, like we want to
People
get our
with
dogs
similar
together to play
interests,
while
yeah,
we
like-
fuck.
Right.
With preferably,
I mean, the show is on network TV, so
Yeah.
Right.
the kink they talked about had to be pretty vanilla.
that was really the least kinky thing. He's like, I can't talk about some of these other things that are in here, but this is the one I can mention. I don't know, it's noteworthy because it's so specific.
Should be specific.
That's what that magazine is all about. Specific kinks.
Right.
Flesh World.
Specific
Yeah.
kink magazine.
Leo's truck.
And lots of
Right.
photos of Leo's truck for some reason.
For truck kink. Which it never dives into, really.
No.
Also, Albert seems really pleased about the gun being
Oh,
James
yeah.
Bond's gun.
He does love that.
Yeah.
He loves that detail.
Oh, by the way, you were shot with a Walther PPK. It's James Bond's gun. Did you know that?
He's in a great mood in this.
He is. I know. What's going on, Albert?
I think it's because they
so
let
cheerful.
him actually do his job for once. He had so much pushback on investigating Laura's body, and then he's like, "See what I can accomplish when you let me do my work.
Yeah.
I can find out all this stuff."
And I like too that he noticed immediately that there was dye in the IV.
Yeah.
He's like the opposite of Harry, who's like, let me just turn off machines in here.
I take credit for things the doctors are doing.
Right.
That is something I hadn't noticed in watching this before, was that Ronette pulled out her IV when it was poisoned.
Smart.
Yeah, I mean, she's been in real peril and
Yeah.
saved herself several times. She gets any credit for being like a strong, real survivor.
She is a
Yeah.
survivor.
It's weird that she's like such a minor character when it's like, she was literally right there when, the crimes.
It's true. She gets almost no lines at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be a short investigation if she had a lot of lines.
Right.
Well, I don't know if she does know that it was Leland, though. Because I think she saw Bob the whole time.
Ah.
Like, in Fire Walk With Me, when you see her POV,
Yeah.
she's seeing Bob.
I guess I don't know how that works. So people can see Bob or Leland when Leland is possessed by Bob.
Maybe it depends on how psychic they are.
If you're a little psychic, you might see Bob.
Well, because Laura never saw Leland. She only ever saw Bob
Right.
until right before she was killed. I mean, I think that's what makes Bob decide. He's like, well, I better kill you. It's now or never, because now you know my secret. You know? And Leland even says, I always thought you knew it was me, right before he kills her, in Fire Walk With Me. Not in this episode.
I'm like, I must have fallen asleep on an important scene of this episode.
But yeah, so I think that she just saw Bob the whole time.
I always interpreted that Laura saw Bob, usually, as her kind of dissociating from being attacked by her dad.
That could be part of it.
Well, what is it like when Leland sees Bob in the mirror?
He's Bob at that time.
Right. I know he's Bob, but he knows he's himself and he knows he's Bob at the same time.
I don't really know how much Leland does know that he is himself when he's really bobbing out.
When he's
When 100% Bob.
bobbing out.
Yeah.
Because it is like a shock to him when he finally realizes it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's when he's not bobbing out, though. Like, I feel like he might know when he's bobbing out, but not when he's just walking around. When he's messy,
Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes
he
sense.
doesn't know.
like when he's messy, Leland, I don't think he knows that he's Bob.
He's not
You're
conscious
right.
of that.
He definitely doesn't. He's not conscious.
But I think he subconsciously does know.
Right.
Right.
It is subconscious.
He contains multitudes.
Oh my god, does he ever? Oh, we'll get to Ray Wise being amazing. But first, we are still in the scene with Albert and Harry.
Oh,
so
man.
Albert gets one last little dig in about knuckle dragging.
I'll be at the lab, gentlemen.
Anything we should be working on?
Yeah. You might practice walking without dragging your knuckles on the floor.
And Harry's great comeback. Let's talk about knuckles.
Albert, let's talk about Knuckles.
Oh, sorry, I punched you, but next time I won't. Like, what? God, what's this lame ass trash talk you have?
He's a
Like,
big old meathead.
It's so easy for Albert to, like, rile him.
And then, like, completely own him, which is amazing.
I know.
He's
Like,
flabbergasted.
I know. Albert's just like, so here, the thing is, I am a good person, actually doing something, fighting evil in the world.
The last time I knocked you down, I felt bad about it. The next time is going to be a real pleasure.
You listen to me. While I will admit to a certain cynicism, the fact is that I'm a naysayer and hatchet man in the fight against violence. I pride myself in taking a punch, and I'll gladly take another because I choose to live my life in the company of Gandhi and King. My concerns are global. I reject absolutely revenge, aggression, and retaliation. The foundation of such a method is love. I love you, Sheriff Truman.
Albert's path is a strange and difficult one.
I love that. I love his little
It's like, I have bigger
speech.
problems.
Right. Like, why do you even care about this ding dong? He's like so faced. Like,
He really is. And then the final, nail in the coffin is I love you, Sheriff Truman.
I love you, Sheriff Truman.
So great.
It's like,
Albert rules. Engels.
Yeah, that is such his mic drop.
It really is. It's such a fine mic drop.
Yeah, I love it. And it explains, like, Albert's snarkiness. I find Albert pretty abrasive, usually. Like, most times, he's like, he doesn't have to be so mean.
Right.
Yeah.
But it kind of explains all of it. He kind of explains his philosophy and belief in nonviolence. Instead of violence, he just insults people.
He doles out sweet burns instead of punches.
Right.
And also, it's like his way of coping for all the terrible shit that he has to see every day, all the time. I like that he's basically like, it's a mask for my cynicism. Like, I completely understand myself. Let me explain.
Right, and also it's like he just laid out like all the work that he did, including noticing the dye and all his findings, and Harry has nothing to say about that. And the only thing Harry has anything to say about is his little knuckle drag. You know, it's like, Harry, this isn't about you.
I know! So that's wonderful. Albert's path is a strange and difficult one. And then the reception desk. But before the reception desk, actually, James is in the hallway. And Cooper's telling him he can go home, he's cleared of the charges, and I don't know what the fuck James is talking about, but Coop shuts him up, which is perfect. He's like,
no.
Let me stop you right there, James.
Don't say another word.
Then Lucy is doing her Scrabble busy work, and Hawk offers to help because he used to be really good at this. I just think that's a funny way to say that.
This very specific thing.
Let me see. I must be pretty good at this.
But I have to respect it because he just means word games.
Yes.
Yeah.
He did that as a boy before he got...
I feel like this is more like spelling
Now he
bee.
doesn't do that. Like, it's just not a thing that he does.
Because he's
got
fucking
other,
busy.
He's got other stuff he's doing.
He's constantly working. He's like one of the only people who does any of the like legwork in the sheriff's department.
You mean like chasing someone for 10 seconds and then they get away?
His tracking skills are not that great, but he's always...
He does do some legwork this episode.
And he's always doing paperwork. He always comes in with stacks of papers and shit.
He does do that.
He does a lot of stuff, even though his tracking skills are overrated.
Yes.
But he does a lot of other good work.
I think they might have profiled
They
him
are rated as the best. Yeah, I think it's a microaggression. Yeah.
It's a racist thing.
It's at least a microaggression for sure.
It's like, I'll just let them think that, I guess. And then Dick Tremaine walks in to take Lucy to lunch. And Hawk is really up on the gossip.
How much data's here?
This is the date that made Andy call in sick.
And Dick is the worst.
Yeah, Hawk is like very invested in Lucy and Andy all of a sudden. And yes, Dick is the worst, but there's a lot that's rough here.
Oh, yeah.
Lucy, I've always considered you to be a woman of letters. Prohibited.
He says something about Hawk, too, that I don't quite understand.
Did I do something to anger you? Not that native people don't have enough reason to be angry, per se.
Well, I feel like he's like, why is he angry? Or is he just angry because native people have every right to be angry all the time? Like, that's what he's trying to say.
That's what he's trying to say, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's some projection.
I mean, I think it's true, though.
I mean, it's definitely true.
He was pretty rude, breaking the guy's cigarette.
That was pretty rude. I did not like that. I don't like that Hawk moment. It's like, he didn't even light it yet. He was just holding it in his hand.
But, like, I really don't understand anybody's actions in this whole thing. I don't really get Lucy's deal at all.
Yeah, like, why is she going out with this guy again?
Right. Why was she going out with him every Thursday night and also dating Andy and then being mad at Andy when she got pregnant? And Lucy is not making any sense to me at all.
Yeah, that whole subplot doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
I wish they had not done that.
Yeah, it didn't. It
doesn't go
need to
anywhere.
Happen. It really doesn't.
It doesn't.
It's just
like,
filler.
pay off
I mean,
anyway.
in fact, it gets so much worse. It gets worse before
Like,
it gets
we're in the good part of this subplot, which, so...
Let us not forget the little Nicky.
Oh, the Nicky.
But at least you have the scene where he has the ice cream on his face and it's different every shot. That part.
That's true.
It's like such a tease how they have that picture as like the thumbnail for this episode because it's like him at a counter. You're like, oh, is this the only good thing with this guy is how it's the funny lack of continuity, and it's not even that episode. Also, it's super weird that he says we'll go Dutch. He says it like that's a big treat too. Like, we'll go Dutch.
We'll go Dutch.
What does he think that means? Maybe he doesn't know what it means. He's cheap for some reason, even though he likes the finer things. He just doesn't want to pay for...
I think he can't afford the
He
finer
works at a
things.
small town department store. It's not like he's got a lot of money.
He's got his 20% discount.
And he works in like high-end menswear. How did they even meet?
good question.
Oh, maybe Lucy was buying something nice for Andy.
See, Lucy, pretty sus. Buying something nice for Andy and picking up the guy that sells it to her. Lucy sends a lot of mixed messages, I'm just gonna say.
Yeah, she's just horny, and there's not that many options in town, and I can't imagine.
I think it's something beyond horniness, though, because if she was just horny, what is she mad about?
Yeah.
Because she got what she wanted.
She's confusing. They're all confusing. It's a confusing and annoying love triangle.
Very, yeah.
But it produces Wally, so it's all,
oh my God.
It's all worth it.
That is very true.
Wally Brando.
Normally I'm all for abortions, but thank God she doesn't get that abortion.
Thank God.
You know, my heart is always here with you. And these fine people, my parents, who I love so dearly.
Oh, Wally, we love you.
So, how tall was this guy? Did his head hit the ceiling?
Harry's still asking questions about the giant.
Oh my God, Harry. Leland walks in with the Bob booster like in front of his face.
Yes,
like you feel so silly watching it after.
Right.
This man, I know him.
First time you watch it, you're totally shocked when it's revealed it's Leland, and it's like, oh my God, they threw out so many clues. Have you seen this man?
I have seen this man in the mirror like loads of times. And also when I was growing up, my grandfather's summer home at the Pearl Lakes. He loves to talk about the Pearl Lakes.
Mm-hmm.
As Annie Boleyn pointed out while we were watching the episode, his tie is quite neat in this scene.
Mm-hmm.
And his hair is very combed as well.
Yeah, this is neat Leland for sure.
He is loving telling the story.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting if you think about if that is Bob there.
Mm-hmm.
Telling the story. Why is he doing this?
Next to that was a White House. That's where he lived.
Do you remember a name?
I think it was Robertson.
Robert. RTB. That's what the letters are trying to spell. Hawk, get up to Pearl Lakes, find out who used to live in that White House.
Why is he giving clues?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like the Zodiac Killer kind of gave...
It's a serial killer thing.
Yeah,
He loves to be
Bob does...
He's like,
Bob's a weird dude.
You guys are way
He kind of
far
gets
off.
off on this.
Also, I feel like Bob feels uncatchable anyway.
You're right.
I mean, it's like, what?
But even if you do catch me, yeah.
Right. Good luck.
Yeah.
Right? He really is basically uncatchable. A lot of hubris here. Telling the story, and then the face that Ray Wise makes when he flicks that match.
Oh, Ray Wise.
Oh, something else. He used to flick matches at me. He'd say, "You want to play with fire, little boy?"
Wow. So scary.
He is.
You want to play with fire, little boy. And then he's also really good at flicking matches because he flicks
Yes.
it right into the ashtray. Remember
Yeah.
when there would be ashtrays in buildings because you could just smoke anywhere the
Yeah.
fuck you wanted?
I do remember that, yes.
Crazy.
Yeah, if Hawk didn't catch you first.
Right.
Snap your cigarette.
That's true. He says no smoking. Why is there an ashtray in the building? Is he just being a dick? He's just being a dick to dick.
I think so, yeah. Or maybe there's an ashtray for people to put their already lit cigarettes out when they walk in smoking.
Well, he doesn't
and
say
it's
there's no
smoking.
smoking. He just says prohibited because it's a word that has an R, a B, and a T.
Oh my gosh, did you not realize that?
No, it's not.
I wish he thought of something better than robot. Like, that's pretty weak.
Good at that.
So.
Yeah, well, that's probably why I didn't get it, because robot's not a bird. It's not really
I think it's
appropriate.
supposed to be a little burn, but it's not very good.
I would not call Dick a robot. You can call Dick a lot of things, but robot is not one of them.
Yeah, I'm
Unless,
trying to think of better insults with RBT for Dick, but I'm not coming up with anything. So. Let's move on.
Robust. It's not really an insult.
No, he's so robust.
At the Double R, Lucy and Dick are having lunch. Meatloaf, mashed potatoes,
Yes.
and beans, I guess?
Weird.
With a side salad of lettuce and tomatoes.
It seems undressed.
Undressed lettuce and
It
tomatoes.
seems like it.
Sure.
Unless it's like a light vinaigrette.
Yeah, I don't think
that
so.
you can't even see.
I don't think the salad at the Double R is all that good.
Yeah.
People don't come for the salad. Yeah.
You don't make friends
Yeah.
with salad.
I've heard the meatloaf is good, though.
Yeah, it's supposed to be one of the better options on the menu. Lucy's just eating green beans, I noticed. I wonder if that's just like an acting choice, because when you are eating in a scene and you do takes, like, you don't want to...
Yeah, you don't want
Like,
to get
she's
too
like,
full.
I'm not going to eat a bunch of mouthfuls of mashed potatoes and then have to...
Do you, like, skip lunch that day? You're like, I'm going to be eating
absolutely.
green beans all afternoon.
You definitely do.
I simply had to develop a system to memorize customer orders using mnemonic triggers. For instance, someone looking for Argyle socks? Well, that would file under A for Argyle, subheading S for socks.
I guess he's just supposed to be like boring and weird, but like AS for Argyle socks, that's not a mnemonic. A little device to remember Argyle socks is AS.
And associate him with
Just
a person.
remember-
Catalog it in his brain to a customer.
Right.
How does the
This
AS
is-
associate with the customer?
Right.
More than
Then they're the
words
one who
Argyle
asked for
socks.
Argyle socks. You don't know what a mnemonic is.
I think that's the point.
Yeah.
He's full of shit.
He is full of shit. And then he's like, I'm going to ask you a question. And then the question is, do you think it's weird that I use my fork this way?
Right.
Right.
Do you find it odd that I don't switch my fork when I eat? That I lift it to my mouth with my left hand?
My mother calls it piling.
Actually, it's not odd at all. It's the European way.
And she doesn't say, yeah, I find it odd. She just says what her mom called it.
Right.
And he says, it's not odd, actually. Not even responding to how she...
It's
not a conversation.
All of that, like, why would you ever assume someone even noticed that? I wouldn't notice that about someone. I would have to have, like, 50 meals with someone before I'd notice that.
Especially with them, like, eating side by side.
Right!
I don't know how they sit at the pancake plantation.
What on earth?
You said you were going to take me to dinner at the Space Needle in Seattle. Even though you took me to family night at the Pancake Plantation instead, I still couldn't help but think that it meant something special.
Oh my god.
Is he supposed to be from England? I guess. He's got an accent.
Yes, Dick Tremaine. I think he is. I mean, unless he's just like
It's a fake
really
accent.
pretentious
Right.
Twin Peaks resident.
Which I wouldn't put past him.
Yeah, that could be. I'm not sure.
I mean, if it never comes up that he's not, then I think he is supposed to be.
Yeah.
I think that actor is for real. I mean, he was on General Hospital, and I feel like he was English on that show, too.
Ah, it's the European way. And there's a really fun extra behind him the whole time who's really listening in on the conversation. And makes some faces when Lucy talks about being preggers.
Oh, gosh.
Preggers.
That's definitely the first time I'd ever heard anyone say that.
Oh, I don't know if it was or not.
I thought that was such a weird thing to say.
It's really goofy.
That's your response. I'm pregnant. Preggers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Is
what I
that
just
supposed to be
said.
the European way to say that?
It is not.
It is not.
Up the duff if he was really English.
Yeah, so I don't think he is. I think he's faking being English.
He probably is. He definitely seems like he puts on airs.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not the worst person in the double R at this very moment. Because on the other side of the double R...
You've got to shut the fuck up, James.
Fucking
Oh,
James.
God, this is such a bad James
And we have
episode.
to hear
oh, my
just you and I
God.
again. At least we don't have to hear the vocals, but we have to hear
Right.
the...
I kept worrying we were going to, though, you know? I was like waiting for that to come in.
Does Donna seem different to you?
What do you mean?
Well, like, doesn't her smoking and stuff bother you? She's trying to act like all tough all of a sudden.
James, you know her better than I do.
She came to visit when I was in jail, and I don't know.
What?
Well, she acted like she wanted to do it with me through the bars. She didn't even care if anybody was around. It was weird. It wasn't like her.
It's so shitty of James to be like talking to Maddie about Donna like that.
Oh my god, James is the
She
absolute
wanted
shittiest.
to do it with me through the bars.
She's like, and? What's your fucking point? She's her girlfriend, right? He's like slut-shaming his girlfriend.
Right, and
while
I-
he's hitting on his...
And then remember, yes, he's the worst.
He's
That's
the worst.
like the scene he's talking about. Like, I mean, she was acting a little strange, but when she said, "Is it not okay for me to want you?" I felt like that was a good question.
It was a very
Was
good
it not?
question. Like, why isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh! I just thought of another motif. It's like a virgin whore thing because of Donna Madonna. There's always money on her.
Oh, yeah?
He doesn't know what he wants because he's
right.
Like, I thought I wanted a slut, but I also want a virgin. I don't know. I just wanted her in front of me.
Right. Well, yeah. And it's like people really not having a type because right before that, like Lucy is pregnant and it's either Andy or Dick Tremaine. Like, what? Lucy.
She's really feeling her right now.
Right. And just that whole thing of like we went out every Tuesday night for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Every Thursday night, I'm sorry. This is weird.
Well, maybe Thursday was Andy's like bowling night or something. So that's when she could get out.
How long did she say it had been, too, since you called her?
It's been 6 weeks, Dick. You said you were gonna call. We went out every Thursday night for 3 months.
I don't get what Lucy wanted to happen. Wasn't she also dating Andy?
Yeah.
So.
And it seemed serious.
And also, like, why would you call 911 to get...
I know. I read the sheriff's station.
Does the sheriff's station not have, like, another phone?
Non-emergency
line. Non-emergency line?
Like, Lucy isn't the 911.
You could have called 411. 411 was still a thing back then. I don't know if it's still a thing now, but I think 411 would be a better option than 911 if you just want to talk to the receptionist at the sheriff's station.
I mean, he's making excuses.
Right.
I lost your phone number.
On purpose, because I didn't want to date you anymore, obviously. But alright, so we're back to James is being terrible.
Yes. And he says one of the most shut up James lines of all time.
I don't know anything anymore. Sometimes I think I should just get on my bike and go.
Yes, go. He does the little hand motion.
Yeah, I like to do it with him as I'm watching. And go.
Go. And then...
Please, go.
Right, Maddie.
Running away won't solve anything.
Come on, get yourself together here. This is like the closest he's ever come to making sense, you know? Yes.
Yeah.
I like the way you're thinking right now, James.
She thinks she's
just
going
go.
back to Missoula, Montana in a couple days.
Oh, poor Maddie.
I know. God, I feel so bad for Maddie this whole
gosh.
Because all she's doing is just trying to be supportive to the people in this town who lost Laura. And then she just got caught up in this drama between these people.
Right.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, they made her dress up like Laura.
I
and
know.
Right.
Kobe.
Yeah, but we'll get to that. We'll get to her freaking out about that. In the meantime, she's just trying to comfort stupid old James, and then Donna walks in, and she is on fire.
Sick burn coming up from Donna.
Donna, where you been? You're late.
I met someone from Meals on Wheels.
Those old folks must have some pretty cool stories, huh?
This was a young man.
Really? What's wrong?
You know, it's hard to say. Other than he was bright and charming, intelligent. Completely unlike anybody I know.
What's that supposed to mean?
Why don't you sit here and hold hands and try to figure it out?
Although Harold does not deserve this kind of praise, but it is fucking hilarious that she's like, he's handsome and smart like nobody I know. I don't know anyone at all who is smart or charming or handsome.
James proves her point by
What's that supposed to be?
Right. Well, it seems pretty clear what she means.
I love it. James
is so stupid in this episode.
I also really love James's stupid, those old folks must have some pretty cool stories.
Yeah, right. James loves old folks, as it turns out. Those old folks must have pretty cool stories. Yeah.
That seems like a lame thing to say.
He's just rolling with it, you know.
James is supposed to be cool. I don't just like...
James has never been cool.
No one's ever said he was cool.
Maybe Shelley was being sarcastic.
No, I mean, I read him.
Shelley famously has terrible taste in men.
No, Bobby rules. Come on.
Except for Bobby.
Right, and Gordon Cole at some point, right?
Yeah, but that's more like he's really into her, and she just kind of goes with it.
All right, so then she has bad taste if she doesn't end up with Gordon Cole, which I know she doesn't, but you know. All right, you convinced me. Shelley has bad taste. But isn't that a fan theory that James has always been cool? It's sort of like David Lynch scolding the audience.
Yes,
you know?
it is.
Like,
oh, yeah.
James is a good person.
Yeah.
He was meant to be cool.
Stop picking on James, everybody. Literally every fan of the show, stop it.
You can't make us stop. We're all in agreement.
I'll stop if he comes on the podcast with you guys.
If David comes on and explains to me, well, he won't.
I I think he might.
I think James is my most spiritual character, he'll say. That's my
Is this the only voice you can do?
Yeah. It's my one impression, and it's all the same.
It sounded like the Twin Peaks fan that it was.
Yeah, and Oscar Isaac.
Well, we'll stop laughing now because we're.
Oh no, Audrey.
Oh, it's so bad for Audrey.
Audrey.
Oh my God. Poor Audrey. She's tied up.
Yikes.
Blackie and Emory are there. Emory's operating the camera badly. I like that he's so shitty operating the camera that Blackie just hands it to this
random girl, yeah.
She's like, you'll do better.
She has such disdain for Emory. I love it.
Yes.
It's the only thing I like about Blackie right
Piece
now.
of shit. She gets surprisingly sympathetic in this episode, but she's also terrible. And then Robert Engels threw in a Sunset Boulevard reference for old David.
She's ready for her close-up now.
And then Blackie gets a whole bunch of hilarious primetime television slang.
Van Horn will have to pay to get his funked-up little daughter back. I'll buy the bastard out.
We can't handle this alone. Ben Horn is dangerous.
Now listen, you spineless gas bag. You are in this up to your shiny paint. Now stop whining.
Ben's funked up little daughter.
Funked up, yeah.
Funked up. And she calls Emory a spineless gas bag, which is great. And then she reveals why she's got it in for Audrey. And it's because Ben apparently got her hooked on heroin.
Yeah, she will want to calm down. Just like her daddy did me.
Two wrongs don't make a right, Blackie.
Jesus fucking Christ. As if we didn't already think Ben was like the worst person on earth.
Yeah,
He's
like,
such a bad person. Oh my God. He's done some really unforgivable shit.
He's pretty terrible.
But we get a little bit of a reprieve from this scene back at the sheriff's station. Phil Gerard / Mike is showing some shoes to Harry. And Harry proves that he has dumb taste in shoes.
Right.
He picks the most popular ones, calls them Jim Dandy. And then Gerard sees a picture of Bob and gets a little squirrely.
Oh,
Need something more practical. Yep. A shoe for all seasons.
Wow, this I like it. Yeah. Jim Dandy.
Oh, very, very popular. The lovely thing...
Mr. Gerard. Mr. Gerard, you okay?
But he has a medication for that.
I have medication that I need to use in the bathroom. You know,
right.
Totally normal.
Now, the way he's using
go to the bathroom to use my
over a
medicine.
toilet looks very dangerous. Like I don't like that at all.
It's just so that Al Strobel can do this amazing physical...
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he is so good.
I love him.
He always makes the most of his time on screen. Yeah, he has to use the bathroom. And then Harry forgets all about him for a long time. Meanwhile, Shelley is waiting
Oh,
in
yeah.
Harry's office, but she says she won't testify. He's like, you don't have to testify, it's just making a statement. Cooper smells insurance fraud right away.
Smells like insurance money. Shelley didn't dream this up herself.
Which is apparently like a huge talent of his. Because in The Return, when he's Dougie and can't even talk, he uncovers that insurance fraud.
Oh, yeah.
He could have had another career as an insurance fraud agent. Which makes sense, I guess, maybe why Dougie is in that line of work. Because he's like part kook. So.
Well, you know, and I bet you that's such a thing, because they referenced Double Indemnity earlier, and Edgar G. Robinson... Is it Edward G. Robinson? Like, his character that has a whole thing about how a claimsman is kind of a psychic. Like, it's all in your gut, and, like, you just know when something isn't right. It seems like that's a seminal one for David Lynch, you know, so...
It does.
And
Yeah, you're our noir expert here.
Double Indemnity is so good.
He's really funny that he confuses the hell out of
Oh,
Shelley.
my gosh.
She's like, what?
Okay, Shelley. That's fine. Thanks for coming in. What? Oh, I think Shelley's thought long and hard about this. Maybe someday, with a little luck and some top-flight medical attention, you'll have Leo back. The same old Leo that you obviously still love. Maybe then, he'll realize what a wonderful person he's married to.
What?
It's so funny. I love an interaction like that when you just agree to a thing someone's saying and that throws them off, you know?
Right.
Oh, were you looking for conflict?
Maybe she just knows that she's like a pretty terrible liar because she's
Right.
not selling it at all.
I know, like, but also she doesn't seem scared enough when Cooper plants that seed in her, like, Leo might recover and come home to you, his wife, your husband Leo, you know.
Just
the
way he was before. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that hadn't occurred to her because Bobby totally convinced her that wasn't going to happen.
Right.
So she's like, she needs some time to sink in. But she definitely later on is like, wait, what if he does recover? That's bad.
Right.
It gets bad for Shelley, too. I really don't like what happens to Shelley in the next several episodes.
Right.
I don't love her immediate future. And then Harry's like, oh yeah, I just remembered that
the one our man was here and disappeared.
And he disappeared. And Coop's like, what?
Like,
and they go to the bathroom.
Harry, gosh.
I gotta head myself because first it's cut to Philip Gerard in the bathroom trying to shoot himself up with his antipsychotic drugs, which actually are the really weird stuff of our titular. That's like what David Lynch says is really weird stuff. But not this episode. Anyways, he doesn't get it in his arm before Mike emerges.
Right.
And he smells Bob and says he's coming after him.
Look at me. I'm after you now.
Making the most of his screen time again. Cooper gets to the Great Northern super fast.
Right.
I guess they must be close together. He runs into Ben and wants to talk about Audrey, and Ben is not concerned.
No.
Well, like I told you, Audrey's gone missing before on a semi-regular basis. So have 2 other local girls recently.
Also, what is Ben even talking about? Like, many men have been ensnared by Audrey.
Let me give you the best advice that you're going to get all week. Men fall under the spell of Audrey's charms like ducks in a shooting gallery. And if you don't want a load of buckshot and your tail feathers, may I suggest that you park your jalopy outside of somebody else's window.
Literally, what are you talking about?
Literally, what are you talking about?
Right, no.
That doesn't happen.
That's basically Ben just saying, I hate women, I mean, it's like, Audrey's beautiful, so I assume she has fucked over a bunch of guys, I mean, what on earth are you talking about, Ben?
As we find out later, Audrey's actually very inexperienced in dating. Ben's the fucking worst. He makes some insinuations that Cooper does not care for at all.
Right.
I like his line, I'm here with only the best intentions.
Mr. Horn, if I've overstepped my bounds with my concern, I apologize. I am here with only the best intentions.
That is achingly clear.
And Ben's like, I hate that.
He's like, best intentions? Yeah.
Ben has like such a reaction to that, like,
And then another teaser for Johnny Kumagai. Oh my god, he's always behind a newspaper watching Coop in the lobby. Is that like the 4th teaser for that guy before we finally see him? I think in the next episode. He's there to spy on Josie. And Coop, because he's like, why isn't Coop dead yet?
Right.
Now we're back at One-Eyed Jacks, and hey, there's another Renault. It's
Yes.
Jean Renault.
The Renault brothers do not look anything alike.
They don't at all.
So Blackie and her sister kind of look like they're different races a little bit, which is like someone doesn't get siblings.
Of the 2.
They're just all from
Okay, let's have different words for that.
Right. They're all from mixed families.
Blended families.
Blended families.
That's called.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Or perfect homes.
They're latchkey children.
Of all the Renaults, Jean Renault has the best French-Canadian accent, I think.
He does.
It's really good.
It's the best of the accents. Kind of the worst fashion sense.
Now I'm really thinking of the origin story of how, like, Blackie's black sister started calling her Blackie. And that's why she doesn't like her.
Oh my god. I know, they both have black hair, right? I always assumed it was her black hair, but they both have black hair.
Yeah, until you meet her sister and find out that she looks like she might be part black. You're like, why does Blackie end up with the name Blackie?
It is curious.
But it would be pretty weird to call the black one Blackie.
Yeah, I'm not recommending that either as a nickname.
It's not the greatest nickname in general. Like, we could probably come up with something better.
I've always liked Whitey Bulger. I think that's a good nickname for a white guy.
Whitey.
Is that a good nickname?
Maybe Blackie was like a blackjack dealer at One-Eyed Jack's.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what Blackie's from.
And then she called her sister and was like, "You'll never guess what sister's calling me at the casino."
Right.
My name is Jean.
Yeah, Jean Renault. He's the worst Renault, I think.
Oh gosh, I mean, there's no good Renault, I don't think.
The only good Renault is a dead Renault.
Right.
Yeah.
Cooper didn't kill any Renault, brother, did he? Why does he think Cooper killed? Who does he think Cooper killed?
So Leo killed Jacques.
I thought Leland killed Jacques.
Leland killed Jacques.
Ah.
I thought Leo killed Bernard.
How did Bernard
like
die?
he was on the phone with someone saying, "I took care of that other one."
Oh, wait, you're right. Yeah, Leo killed Bernard.
Yeah.
So he just doesn't know.
So he thinks that Coop killed
It's Coop.
Yeah.
Jacques.
Yes.
I mean, he's not thinking straight at all. Like, why would the FBI guy suffocate Jacques Renault in the hospital? Like, I mean, like, he knows how he died, right?
I don't know.
It's just more like
Just because he got
Coop's involvement is what led
like if
to,
Coop had
to my
If it wasn't
brothers
for him arresting
being
him, he wouldn't be in the hospital to have been killed.
not very clear,
He's just
John.
looking for a straw man.
Right.
Right.
He's not going to say, like, our criminal,
Right, I mean,
criminal
fair,
lives
yes.
led to my brother's death. He won't admit
Right.
to that. So he's super into English caramels and heroin.
Yeah.
Feel the warmth.
Sweet sleep. Feel the warmth.
Sugar is what you need. That was very good.
That was great.
Good job.
English girl. Sugar's what you need.
I love Blackie's dig at Emory, though.
Yeah, say something fawning. And
Say something meek and fawning.
yeah.
Jean Renault. Emory. Say something weak and phony.
Nailed Emory.
Also, it's so dumb that Emory is worried about losing his job.
I know. I love that she calls him out on that.
Like, I'm getting the boss's daughter addicted to heroin and I'm involved in a kidnapping plot. I hope I don't get fired. Very cool. Emory.
You chose to be unemployed.
Well, also, is that like really his livelihood? Isn't it more of a front for whatever he's got going on at One-Eyed Jack's?
I hope he's making
Like,
more money on his human trafficking than he is on
managing the
I
perfume
mean, don't do
department.
human trafficking if you're not making a pretty good living.
Yeah.
That's just doing
You
it
shouldn't do it for the love of human trafficking.
For minimum wage.
I'd do this even if I wasn't getting paid.
If you do it, you love it.
You'll never work a day in your life.
Oh my god. Ugh, he's gross. There's a lot of exposition in this scene. John's like, okay, here's what we're gonna do.
Right.
I'll be the middleman for Audrey's ransom. Ben will never know that Blackie and Emory are involved. In exchange, he'll get the man responsible, who's Agent Cooper. But that's not really...
Right, but even so, like, why does he need any of this?
Yeah, a
Does
more
he just want to
straightforward
kill?
way to kill
Right.
Agent Cooper and just not have to worry about it?
It doesn't seem like any of that is necessary for him. Why doesn't he just go kill Coop? Like,
he
I
also
don't.
wants
But he also gets
30% of the ransom.
So he gets paid.
He gets paid and gets to
He's not doing
avenge
this
his
for the
brother
love.
Right.
and murder Audrey.
Right. Sadly.
Yeah, it's interesting that he's like, we can't let the girl live anymore, and then it's like, are you gonna kill her now, or when are you planning on doing that?
Well, I think they want to show Ben proof of life, so to speak.
Well, they have,
you know.
they've already made the video.
Yeah.
It's just ominous, I guess. Okay, back at the station. That's where Cooper enters Harry's office with coffee and donuts. Just one each.
Oh, yes.
Reasonable amount of donuts.
That's how you eat them.
Harry has just been on the phone with Pete, saying that Josie will be back the next day. And then he asks Coop if he can see her alone first. And I like Coop's response of, we can't let personal feelings interfere with our work.
Right.
Trust me on that. I feel like he's referencing Audrey, but he's also referencing, like, all kinds of other...
Right. And it's also just good advice, especially in this situation specifically, because I feel like he kind of has a little bit of disdain there for Harry. Like, Harry, you do not have an accurate read on this woman.
That's very true. But then he's like, I endorse it, or whatever, I forget what he says.
I think he says, like, fine, but I think it's just sort of
Feel
like,
like blessing.
yeah. I feel like he knows that Harry is just totally dumb
It's
in this
just a matter
in
of
this
time
specific.
before Harry gets his heart broken. That's when Harry realizes that Gerard went to the bathroom hours ago and never came back.
Right.
The one-armed man was here?
Yeah, he got faint and had to go to the bathroom.
Never came back.
So they go to the bathroom, they find the syringe, it's full on the floor, it's like dripping a little bit, and that's when Cooper recalls the without chemicals he points clue.
Yeah, what does that mean?
I think that means...
Without chemicals.
It means like, because
Right.
that's an antipsychotic that Philip takes to not become Mike.
Oh.
Without those chemicals, he knows who Bob
He
is.
points
Okay.
to Bob.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And the points is a reference to his finger, because he has one hand.
He points left.
He points with only one hand.
Back at the hospital.
A lot happens in this episode.
A lot.
It's action-packed.
Ed is there to see Nadine. She's asleep. Doc Hayward says that she ripped through 2 pairs of leather restraints overnight. So they put her in 2 more leather restraints.
Right. Like,
Because this time it'll work.
These are the strong ones.
Her adrenaline levels are high, he says. And then he tells Ed to talk to her or sing to her. And this is why Ed is in the running for me for LVP, but I haven't picked yet. I'll pick, I guess, at the end of the episode. But, like, he doesn't know what music Nadine likes.
right.
Sorry, honey, I'm not sure what you'd like to hear.
Come on. You can't think of a single song that she likes. So he chooses On Top of Old Smokey, which is about, like, cheating on somebody.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
On top of Old Smoky, all covered with snow, I lost my true lover, a-courting too slow, courting to pleasure, heartens of grief. A false-hearted lover is worse than
I lost my true lover, courting too slow. That
Right.
seems like it's about his relationship with Norma. Because that's kind of what happened with them.
I always thought that song was On Top of Spaghetti.
I know, that's why it took me a second. I'm like, wait.
Well, he sings the lyrics.
Right.
He sings On Top of Spaghetti wrong.
Yeah. He makes it about himself and Norma. And it wakes up Nadine. And she thinks she's
18
years
again.
old,
You're
a
only
senior.
18 once.
Hi, Eddie. Did you come by to pick me up?
Huh?
Doc Hayward says tonsillitis or no tonsillitis, I can go to cheerleading tryouts.
Cheerleader tryouts?
Well, I'm a senior, Eddie. You know what they say. You're only 18 once.
This is a very, very strange plot that's about to unfold. But yeah, I just hate Ed's song choice here.
Mm-hmm.
The last line he says before she wakes up is, a false-hearted lover is worse than a thief.
Yeah.
Ooh, triggered! Also, there's a weird keyboard version of the theme song falling in this scene. It's like Badalamenti just tried a different input on his Casio. There's another fun long shot of the camera pulling out of Nadine's room while she's little kidding out on the bed, I guess. And then they cut to Jacoby in his hospital bed, and wow, so many problems.
Oh
in
my
this
goodness.
scene. Jacoby, you fucking suck. First of all, your wife, Ailani, never speaks. Why is that? Why doesn't she talk? There's all kinds of cultural appropriation happening here. His wife doesn't even live with him for some reason.
Lives in their place in Hawaii?
Yeah.
Like, why does Jacoby own a place in Hawaii? Like, why doesn't Jacoby just live in Hawaii then?
He had to come back to Twin Peaks for his brother died or something.
Oh.
But there's no reason why he wouldn't just go back now. Like, let's keep him there now. But I don't think he and Iolani make it.
She's not around in the return.
Right.
Anyway, so Coop and Harry are there to hypnotize him, just try and help him remember, because he was like sharing a room, I guess.
I guess,
Right.
yeah. I was like,
Jacques. If he's under hypnosis, he might see the face of the man who killed Jacques. He gives Coop a script of like, this is what will relax me enough to be hypnotized. And it's a prose version of putting, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
He's just putting.
yeah.
That's what he loves. He loves golf and Hawaii.
The green grows larger and larger. The green engulfs you, enveloping you in a soft blanket of peace.
And it works on Harry, too. It's really funny
Right.
that Harry starts to get hypnotized. And Cooper's like,
Harry. Stay with me, Harry.
he remembers dogs barking and the smell of engine oil and owls.
Oh yeah, so the smell
Well,
of engine
Cooper
oil.
plants that, and like it's funny
He
how
totally does,
Cooper
yeah.
said he was a strong sender, and then he's like, "Do you smell anything like engine oil?"
Burned engine oil specifically.
Right?
Well, he said that earlier.
Yeah,
In an earlier episode, he talked about engine oil.
he did say it.
And it came out in
Said it.
this episode that was not at the hospital, but at the gazebo or whatever.
Yes, in the
Right.
park. Because that was also Bob.
So Bob smells like engine oil?
Yes.
How come?
Well, I don't know exactly, but that's like what's in that little pool in Glastonbury Grove. That's engine oil in there. All those woodsmen are all oily and gross. Yeah, it's just something about the engine oil that's evil. Burned engine oil specifically, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like people who aren't taking care of their cars. That's the most evil. That's the evil that men do. They don't get their oil changed enough. And he says, I know him.
Do you see who it is? I know him.
There's a little bit of a delay. First we see Donna visiting Laura, and this is why Donna would have been my MVP, but this is going to counter out on it because she's so mean to Laura.
This is rude, Donna.
As much as I love you, Laura, most of the time we were trying to solve your problems. And you know what? We still are. Not mine or James or Maddie's, yours. You're dead, Laura, but your problems keep hanging around. It's almost like they didn't bury you deep enough.
Come on, Donna. I know you're upset, but, like, don't blame Laura for dying.
Right.
She basically says, like, you got murdered because you had problems.
Or like you were so stupid about so many other things.
Yeah.
If you probably knew how we felt before we did. How can you be so smart about things like that? And so stupid about so much else?
Not nice.
Actually, she was very smart, and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And that is kind of one of the things that Laura writes about in her diary is like, Donna's actually the stupid one. She doesn't have any idea what's going on. And if I told her, she'd be really judgmental. Like, that's why,
That's why Harold
Harold
thinks
is
that,
like,
yeah.
do you have anything judgmental to say about that?
Right.
I've heard you're really judgmental about
Right. Well, accurate. Here she is when she's dead. They didn't bury you deep enough. Donna.
I know.
After you died, we kind of got together. What does that mean? And I don't feel like I have to explain it to you. Like, obviously you do feel that way.
It seems like you do.
Or like, we're still trying to solve your problems. Like, oh yeah, her problem of being murdered brutally.
Yeah, your problems. And really, she came there because she's like, ugh, James. She's there to talk about
know.
James. How is that Laura's problem? It's
Right.
not. Ugh. Anyway, Donna.
Yeah, Donna was doing really well earlier in the episode, but not so much this scene.
Yeah. And then at the Palmer house.
Oh, man.
Fucking hell,
James. James to Maddie, she came home. Why on earth would Maddie know who he's talking about?
Yeah.
She came home.
Who?
My mom was all loaded. She was all screwed up. God, I hate her.
My mom. Like, what? Why would Maddie ever think that's
I told you
what
about
he
my mom before. I can't remember if I did.
Right.
I tell everybody about my mom being a drunk.
Yeah.
And having sex with people. He's so sex shamey.
He is! He's the worst.
Not cool.
James has never been cool.
You know what's not at all cool? Being slut shamey, James.
Right.
Shut the fuck up. But for some reason, Maddie's like trying to calm him. I guess just because she's so nice and he's upset.
Right. I mean, she does like pull away when he goes to kiss her, though.
Yeah.
You know? But she's just like, come on, man. She was like, I'm just here for my cousin's funeral.
Like, Jesus Christ.
I know.
Ugh. And then Donna comes in. She just walks in the house, which I guess she had carte blanche to walk in the house because it was Laura's house, but I didn't.
Right, that is a little like, hey, I'm here, guys.
Yeah,
Hey.
what's up? And she sees them. It looks like they're about to kiss. Even though they were just hugging, James offers no explanation whatsoever. Donna runs out, and then James follows her, crashing a
It's not your house, James. God.
He's such a monster.
He makes this big mess and Leland's like, my house.
Like, what the fuck?
It's maybe Bob. Bob's like, that was rude.
I
I would never do that.
Right, like, unnecessary.
Ugh.
Bob likes to keep it neat.
He does, yes.
Even Bob was like, too much, James.
Right, I come when stuff is neat.
Which Leland is not.
No, Leland is messy in this
And
scene.
Maddie is also so sad and so confused. She says, it's like I fell into a dream.
Oh, if only.
All I did was come to a funeral. And it's like I fell into a dream. It's like people think I'm Laura. And I'm not. I'm nothing like Laura.
It's so hard. I know. I know, sweetheart. I know.
And all I know is that Laura was my cousin, and I loved her, and she died. I don't know anything else.
You just want life to be the way it was before.
Yeah.
So do I. We all do. And try as we might, it just won't cooperate, will it? If life could only be like those summers up at Pearl Lakes.
More like a nightmare. People think I'm Laura and I'm not. Oh my god. Shirley just kills this scene.
Yeah.
She kills it. And, I mean, the two of them
So does
together
Ray
actually
Wise
make
is
sense.
so good, yeah.
Oh, so good. You want life to be like it was before. And Leland's tie, messy tie. And then Truman walks in with Coop.
Because the door was open. Thanks, James.
He left the door open. Fuck you, James.
I hope they all have a cat.
They don't have a cat, actually. Their cat was hit by a car.
All right.
Not that long
Still,
ago.
you don't just knock people's stuff over and leave the door open.
Kirsten could get out.
That's not, she doesn't live there.
Maybe she could get in.
Maybe she does live there.
We've never seen her.
And so Harry's like, hey, we're going to arrest you for the murder of Jacques Renault. And Maddie's like, what?
What?
She's
Maddie's
very
like,
stressed.
ugh, as if this day could get any worse.
And then at Harold Smith's, Donna's come to see him. She's upset. She walks in and says like one sentence to him.
And the thing she says is like, I don't want to talk about it or something. Slow down.
Slow down.
Slow down.
What's wrong?
I don't even know if I want to talk about it. I feel so stupid.
Slow down.
You're hysterical.
She didn't say anything.
Oh, Harold, you suck. But then he says the line, what Laura always said, Donna Madonna is always manana.
That's cute.
What was it she used to say? Donna Madonna, there's always manana.
It is
See,
very
Laura's
cute.
so fun. Laura's
fun.
such a delight.
She was great.
Donna Madonna, there's always mañana. I love to think of her. I wish I could hear her say it and not dumb Harold Smith say it.
Mm-hmm. She wants to know how he knows that. She'll find out soon enough.
Mm-hmm.
He goes through the greenhouse to get to his kitchen to get
As you
something to
do.
drink. And while he's gone, she discovers the secret diary.
What?
And cut to black. That's the end of the episode.
Cut to Blackie. And a black sister.
Does she have a nickname?
Nancy.
Nancy.
It's not, it's just her name.
How do you know? Maybe it's a nickname. You don't know.
You're right. It could be a nickname. Nancy Drew. There was a lot in that episode. A lot happened there. A lot of bad James stuff, too. It's a really bad episode for James.
James really lucking out about this no LVP clause.
Lest we forget that James can never be the LVP because James is always the LVP.
Right,
So
but
he's
he's-
extra the LVP in this episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Roadhouse is proud to welcome.
I guess maybe we can start with the runner-up then of the LVP. Why not? I have three options. For me, it's between Ben, Jean, and Ed.
Interesting, because I have one that I felt that was like landslide victory, and it's not any of those three people.
Oh.
Mine is Harry. Harry is like, my God. I mean, from the very beginning, he turns off a random thing that Ronette is hooked up to. Let me just turn that off.
That's a great choice. I can't pick Harry every episode.
I know. I mean, I don't pick him every episode.
No, you don't.
But, like, I mean, he can't get off the giant. He's totally faced by Albert. His stupid thing of Josie.
Yeah.
He's so clueless about that. And then, like, the one-armed man. Hey, oh yeah, he was here and he disappeared.
At the police station. God, no
Right.
wonder Leland's able
Like
to
this
steal
person that
everything.
is like so pivotal to Coop, you know, and he's like, oh yeah, I forgot to mention he was here and disappeared mysteriously. Like, wow.
Yeah, I feel like Coop really...
Bang up job, Harry.
You should really reprimand Harry a little bit harder about that. He's just like, what, he was here?
Right.
I know, he never loses confidence in Harry for some reason. He should be like, Harry, I can't solve this crime with you. I'm gonna be better.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
Impeding this investigation.
Right.
You're right. Harry is so bad. I just feel like I pick Harry too much.
I mean, I know I picked him before, but he's really bad in this
Yeah.
episode. Well, who's yours, Brugos?
I choose Dick. Because
That's a good
I don't
choice.
need
Yeah.
Dick Tremaine in my life.
No,
Yeah.
we don't. Nobody needs Dick Tremaine in their lives.
The character is perfectly represented as being very boorish, but I don't understand the storyline.
Yeah, what are the upsides? Like, Lucy doesn't even seem to really like him that much.
It's not like he's super funny, even.
Right.
You're kind of laughing at him, I guess, but like not really. There's other funnier stuff.
Oh, yeah,
in Twin
definitely.
Peaks than Dick Tremaine.
That's why I was paying more attention to the guy sitting next to him in the diner than him. He's pretty...
You weren't paying attention to which hand he used to eat with?
I literally never would have noticed it until he mentioned it.
Also, is that called piling in
I don't know.
any context? Is that what she says? My
Yeah.
mother calls it piling?
I love that specific detail that is maybe not even true, or not what anybody has ever called it.
Right. Is it
But
a thing
there's
that
somebody
people...
that did call it that, and that's why it got in the script.
It's weird that there would be even a name for which hand you hold your fork with.
Yeah.
I'm going to look this
You
up.
wouldn't just use your dominant hand?
Of all people, that Lucy's mom had a name for that habit.
Right. There's a story there. I mean,
Yeah,
she must have
maybe
known
that's why
somebody.
he asked if she noticed, because he's like, I heard before that your family is really fixated on which hand people use their utensils in. I'm curious as to what you're going to find out.
The cultural politics of fork usage are complex. I just want to know if
Oh
it's
my
called
God.
piling.
This is not going to be an easy answer.
Why do so many people pile food up on the back of a fork when it's obvious from the shape that it should be used the other way up like a spoon?
Well, that's what that's on then. Why do people do that? What's the answer to that?
Why do the Brits traditionally hold their forks upside down so the fork no longer takes advantage of its spoon-like shape? I mean, I just want to know, is it called piling?
Well, that makes sense. So you're cutting with a knife, you do hold your fork upside down for cutting.
Uh-huh.
And then you just don't turn it over.
Yeah.
You just put stuff on it and eat on the back
But
of the
he
fork.
says that it's like he doesn't switch his hands.
Yeah.
Everybody would hold it that way while you're cutting, but then Americans switch to the right
Right.
to eat, and then
The Brits just eat with that
Just-
because they've already stabbed the food, so it's
so maybe it
saving
is like
time.
they made a little pile and stabbed it like... I don't see anything saying like that is called piling.
Well, she just says her mother called it that.
Right.
She came up with that.
Awkward piling is particularly English. How many peas can dance on the back of a fork? I don't know. Why would anyone care about that? All the articles are like, Americans do it too. Ever. I'm going to hold a fork in my right hand. My gosh. All right. Who is your LVP? Have you decided?
Yeah, I guess I'm going to go with fucking Ben.
Ugh, Ben's really
Again,
bad.
I know I've picked him before, but like, give a shit about your daughter at all.
Right.
Because like,
He's
Robert
really
is a bad
bad.
guy. He doesn't pretend to not be a bad guy, but I feel like Ben does pretend a little bit sometimes. Like, he's so self-righteous. He's like, well, I'm sure she's just out sledding around somewhere. Who cares?
Right.
Why did you call the police in the first place then?
Like, he's really like, men should be wary of her.
Yeah. Ugh.
You don't know her at all.
No. She's 18 years old. Okay, let's do a fun one. Let's do the fish in the percolator.
I mean, there's a lot for this one, but
Yeah.
my real laugh out loud is Albert and his "I love you, Sheriff Truman," and then puts the glasses on and walks out.
Yeah. Miguel
And
Ferrer
also,
really beats that scene
yeah,
up with his food.
yes, he's having such a good time in that, and then Harry is just like so duh.
Flabbergasted.
I love it.
Albert's a delight.
Yeah.
I also have an Albert one.
Yay.
It's the fellows that stand together, and he moves over and stands kind of like shoulders up to Harry and gives him a funny look. I like it. I don't know why.
Albert rules in
pretty
this
funny.
episode.
That's very funny. I just wrote pancake plantation.
Yeah, that's Lucy's whole deal. That's
Pancake Plantation.
What is a concept for a restaurant?
Crazy name for a pancake place. Pancake House is one you hear sometimes, you know?
I think there was a breakfast place in California called The Plantation.
Weird.
Yeah, they probably had to change the name since then.
Yeah.
And also to be in the Northwest is a weird place.
That's like more of a south thing in
Yeah.
Virginia. In Virginia, there are many plantations. That makes me laugh so much.
Also that they had dinner there.
Breakfast or dinner.
I love that, but...
Yeah, I don't want to knock breakfast for dinner.
I love breakfast for
But
dinner.
I would never get pancakes for my breakfast for dinner.
Ooh, why not? What would you get?
I'd definitely get a waffle if I was going to get anything that was kind of like a pancake.
Well, maybe they don't have waffles at Pancake Plantation.
That's a good point. Do
They're
they have omelets?
We're kind of more of a pancake place.
Yeah. Do they have crepes, maybe? Do they have different kinds of pancakes? Is it like the International House
probably.
of Pancakes?
Latkes.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe Dutch baby? Swedish
oh,
pancake?
yeah. I do like a Dutch baby.
Yeah.
Alright, now it sounds good, but I still think...
Let's go to the plantation.
They gotta change the name, yeah.
Pancake Pavilion.
Yes, there you go. Pancake Pagoda even would be better than Plantation.
Pagoda. So it's like a hybrid Japanese and pancake place.
Yeah, that's something.
Ooh.
Yeah, see? I knew I'd have her on board.
That's the zen.
Cool. Ceiling fan award.
Ooh. There's some scary stuff in this one, but for me, just when Leland and Maddie are on the couch like that, and Maddie's so upset, and Leland's comforting her, when you know what's gonna happen in a couple episodes.
Yeah, it's true. That is very scary.
Very upsetting.
He's like, you just want things to be like they were, and it's like, oh, things weren't really that great before, though. When you think about it, he's like, I just wish that my daughter were still alive, so I could continue to torture her.
Right.
What about you, Brugos?
What was scary? I don't know. I didn't really think about it. You know, I guess the Ronette screaming and then the bee in her mouth when she's screaming, kind of the fade after that long one shot. It's a very off-putting scene, seeing everyone moving around the hospital and turning on and off unknown devices that may or may not be
scariest part is just what
what is Harry doing?
This is beeping. This beeping is driving me crazy.
I need to give her a sedative. Click. That's not how you do that.
That's not a sedative.
You're not authorized to give sedatives, Harry.
Right.
I think that scene really opens up the episode really well. Kind of makes the whole thing very ill at ease.
Yeah, it's like, lest we forget what we're all doing here.
Right.
I went with Jean and the heroin. Basically, like, as soon as Audrey wakes up, he's like, here's a caramel, now go the fuck back to sleep.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely gonna kill you. I'll probably sleep well, I'll probably kill you in the morning.
Yeah.
Ugh, he's a bad guy. Fortunately, she gets out bad. Unfortunately, it doesn't help.
Yeah. Everything's coming up, Audrey.
Oh no. Alright, MVPs.
I mean, pretty clearly for me, Albert. Albert has so much swagger and, you know, did so much. Noticed the dye right away. He's so thrilled about James Bond's gun.
Yeah.
I mean, everything Albert does, he's really just in the beginning of the episode, and everything he does is awesome. And his, like, little speech, it's like, that's someone who's really good, where they compare themselves to Gandhi and Martin Luther King, and you're still like, I'm with you. Yeah, right?
Nonviolence. I'm into it.
Yeah.
I love that speech.
He's like, I've dedicated my life to fighting evil, and you hate me. What does that say about you? Right?
Oh man, that's good stuff.
No, you took mine, though. I was going to say he was my MVP.
You can still say it.
He's my MVP.
We can agree.
We agree.
He's wonderful.
Yeah.
Albert's definitely on my short list. I was going to pick him, but I think I'm going to pick Mike instead.
Oh.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to pick Al Strobel. I'm gonna pick.
Yeah. He's
I
so good.
feel like he does such a great job.
He's so good.
With his limited time on screen. He's so memorable.
Mm-hmm.
And really pretty nuanced in his performance when, like, no one has any idea what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even his salesman performance is really good, actually.
Yes!
He's a really good salesman.
He's also really good at kind of acting fairly normal.
Right.
And then suddenly being like, oh, just kidding. I'm not very normal at all.
Right.
So Al Strobel, because I guess not Mike, because Mike really isn't all that helpful overall. He's like, I could tell you which one Bob is, but I'm instead gonna fuck off and disappear and leave all my shoes.
Right.
So Albert was very close.
Yeah.
Donna almost made it. But I just can't.
Donna,
I just can't abide anyone talking shit about my Laura.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of a taboo disparaging the dead.
Right.
How am I supposed to do
Taboo, yeah, it's a little taboo.
It's a little taboo.
Right.
I think it just goes to show she's very upset.
Right, but the thing she's upset about is like James not being into her is like that's insult to injury.
Yeah. Oh, I did forget the insult to injury in the Audrey scene where they were playing her theme, her favorite song, while she's being kidnapped and drugged.
Yes, rough.
That's not cool. Really Weird Stuff is hosted by Annie Malone and Jessica Baxter. Music by Julie Cruz, Angelo Badalamenti, and Jessica Baxter. If you enjoyed Really Weird Stuff, please take a minute to rate and review us on your favorite podcast app. Follow us on Instagram at Really Weird Stuff Pod, on Twitter at Really Weird Pod, and on Facebook at Really Weird Stuff Podcast. Thank you for listening.